Welcome back, YouTube. Today's video is a very long cabinet video. This is a full kitchen, as you've seen in the little intro video. So I always use my CNC machine to cut everything out. This ended up being a whole lot of sheets. I think it was around 20 sheets, 22 sheets, something like that. Kind of start with the basics at first, whether that be uppers, lowers. I think in this video I started with the lowers first. Sheet by sheet, I'd cut it out, cut out about 10 sheets at a time, and then go from there, and then come back and finish. And so the very first piece I started with was the piece that goes over the fridge. And so drilling all my pocket holes first. So this is the back of that piece. And so you can see all the little adjustable holes that I used. So that's going to be one of the sides, and then use my pocket holes and glue on all of this. Attach those, then attach the other side as well. It's just shown here. And while I have a second, I think I got my editing down right to where you shouldn't have to turn your phone sideways. I know previous videos had a little bit of an issue with that. So if that doesn't work for you, let me know so that I can try to get better and do a better editing style. And while I'm at it, please like and subscribe to the video. This is my longest video to date. Hopefully it helps somebody. This is my second cabinet job I've ever done, so I'm sure I messed some things up. I think it turned out pretty well, but only getting better. So the gist of this part is, this is the top, so all the pocket holes are on the top so that you can't see them when the cabinets are in, and it just kind of gives it, it helps it be a little more secure. And so all fridges, when you're cutting out a fridge, most fridges these days are 36 inches wide and like 77 or 78 inches tall, something like that. So I usually try to give 38 inches for the width, so that you have just a little bit of room on each side, and then about 80 tall. And then so I knew this side was going up against the wall so that I could afford to attach the screws into it instead of trying to hide all the pocket holes I can. And then so I like to give about an inch, an inch gap. So I do that all the way around on everything that's upper. Just gives it a little bit of character, a little bit of, design in the end. Okay. And then so moving on to the face, this customer she had a pine theme throughout her whole house. And so she wanted her kitchen cabinets to be pine. And so that's what all these faces are going to be. Everything's pine, and then the doors, it's a mixture between pine and birch. She liked the combination of that, so that's what she got. And so this is just me building the face using pocket holes, a little bit of glue, and measuring what the face needs to be, and then putting the divider down the middle. Again, attaching the pocket holes exactly where it needed to be, and then putting a little bit of glue on the piece that I just done, and then laying the face on top. That's pretty much the gist of all the cabinets. I really avoided cabinets for a long time just because I really don't have the manpower to do them. But here recently I've got into them a little bit more, and take on a job here or there. They pay very, very well. So it's kind of changed my mind of, I have to be a little more detailed, and, I'm buying better equipment. Got my CNC machine, so it helps out a lot. About to buy a drum sander, larger dust collector, things like that. If you ever want to review, if you want me to review those type of things, I can. Some of the review videos have been really good. Some have been okay. So in the future, I'm sure that I'll do more review videos as I get things, and I like to do them after I probably had them about a year, just so that I can really give some feedback instead of that basic I just got it, it's brand new, everything works good, really brand new. But that's my rant for the day. Jumping back to the video, so this is how I just mentioned, lay the face down, put some glue on the piece first, and then attach those with pocket holes. So every one of these pocket holes that you see me screwing in now, it has trim on the outside, and so once I put that trim on, you won't be able to see any of those pocket holes. and I think it all turned out very well. So I think the longest process of building cabinets in general is the doors. So if I can get away with, and this is me adding the trim on the side, it's the same concept as the face. I cut the top and the bottom, and then use pocket holes to do the longer pieces, make sure all that's even and whatnot before I screw it from the back side in, because the fridge will be on that side, so I can hide those screws as well. But the longest part of doing cabinets are the doors. Building the actual cabinets are not hard at all, especially if you have a CNC machine. And I highly recommend, if you have the room for a large CNC machine. I'm a little biased because I love my Shop Saber, but if you can get your hands on a CNC machine, whether it be Laguna, Cam Master, whatever the other ones are, the Shop Saber is by far, it's been so good to me. But I can use the CNC machine if I want to cut, like if it's a painted door, I can use it to cut out MDF, ATF doors, which is the job that I'm working on now. That's the doors it's going to have. So, but these are all pine and birch doors. So it's, I have to hand build every one of those, and it's just so time consuming. But so jumping right back in the video. So it's same thing, pocket holes. I think this is starting with the pantry. So this is the back of the pantry. You see she wanted adjustable shelving from the very top to the very bottom. She wanted to be able to move the shelves everywhere. So pretty much the pantry again, CNC machined it out, and then attached the sides pocket holes down on. Make sure the pocket holes on the outside, because this will have trim as well. You can do these pantries without trim. In that case, I would probably screw it in from the back, and then if I was painting it, I would shoot brad nails through the face and then putty those in and paint them. That's the easiest way to hide those. But this one ended up having trim on the outside, and so I could afford to put the pocket holes on the outside, glue. It was a very tall pantry, almost 8 foot tall. This is the top of the pantry, so cut out their rectangle, make sure there's glue on all the pieces. So there's a piece here, there's a piece in the dead center that I pocket hold in, and then there's a piece on the very bottom. So you have the middle shelf and then the upper shelf, and then the doors will break. So there's 2 doors on top, there's 2 doors on bottom, and then you have the middle shelf that doesn't move. The bottom shelf obviously doesn't move. This very top doesn't move. Everything else is adjustable, so she can take them out and do whatever she needs to do. So this is the same concept it could be for. This is just showing how pretty much every bit of the trim gets put together. If it's the trim for the pantry, one of the bottoms will be just a little bit shorter than the other one. I think this was the trim for the previous fridge job, or the piece above the fridge, but it's all the same concept, right? So kind of just my philosophy is I want to show you how to do it once, and then I probably won't come back to it again. Just for I don't have to repeat myself. So this is actually for the pantry itself. So you can see it's sticking off just a little bit, and then when you stick that on, because you see it has that cutout for the foot kicker. And then so how I put all my foot kickers on, again, I probably won't show the foot kicker again for the rest of the video, but I go through and attach the screws with pocket holes at the top on the inside, which I guess you could use the sideboards when you cut them, but it's just easier to do it this way, and I have so much scrap that I don't mind doing it. But under the whole kitchen, to do it the same way. You know, tack those in, a little bit of glue, and then pull the pocket holes down whenever you attach the foot kicker. And I'd actually done this video, gosh, it was probably back. It was back in the spring. I think I delivered on sometime in May, April, late May, or early May, something like that. So it's been a while since I just really procrastinated getting this video out because it was so long, so much editing. But I think it'll be worth it in the end. So jumping back to another piece, got the pantry done, got the above the fridge piece, and so this is the section of drawers. So one of her sections that has pull-out drawers, so like you can put pots and pans and whatnot. And so I started with 2 pieces I cut out with the CNC machine, and then grabbed a scrap piece, measured it the same width as the back, and so cut out one of those to keep that all nice and square. 2 of those, one for top, one for bottom, where actually you could see through the bottom of this, so I had to put a whole bottom in it. If it was just drawers without it being like for pots and pans, then probably would just left the bottom open, or just put like a little piece on the front, just to kind of save on wood. You know, anytime you can save 3-6 foot of wood, you know, it really adds up in the end. But this one, you could open cabinet doors and pull the drawers out. So always make sure everything's nice and square, even. Of course, when it comes off the CNC machine, I use all those measurements because they're, you know, very accurate. So everything usually works out very well. Okay, and so doing another face again. This is the face for that piece. Again, just showing, use a clamp, pocket holes, again, a little bit of glue. And so on this one, it had a drawer in the very top, and then underneath that it had 2 cabinet doors, and it had the pull out part where it had two long drawers in the bottom. I had a full drawer at the top. So you see me put the piece, I just cut all my drawers 5-6 inches measurement for the tops on all of them. I used to really cut them 6. I think I've cut it back down to 5. I think it really matters, but that's what you see there. And then the bottom piece goes on, clamp it, pocket hole it, same thing, and then this piece will slide on. It doesn't get a middle piece because the 2 drawers on the bottom have to come completely out. So my goal is to get the cabinet doors as close as I can without them hitting. So, you know, probably 1/8 of an inch, a little bit less than 1/4, something like that. And then so that's the cabinet after the cabinet itself is done, and then putting the face on. Again, this will be one side has a dishwasher, I think to the left, and then the right side just has to get trimmed out because it's between the pantry and itself. So there's nothing on the other side. So the side that had the dishwasher obviously is going to be hidden, but I just use pocket holes, attach those there. So top, bottom, sides, the whole shebang. Again, if you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe to the video. I know this is a really long video. Hopefully you've made it this far. Hopefully you continue to watch the whole thing. I'm to the point of, I've gained over 1,000 subscribers, so that's always a plus. And so, trying to finish up this video itself, or this portion. Jumped way ahead, and went ahead and stained. In this portion, I had already stained everything, but getting this video, adding the side portions, I went ahead and attached. I use all ball bearing slides. There's 2 of those on each side, and so on. And so, if you've ever seen me build a drawer box, they're all the same. I've built them like this for many years. Absolutely no issues. Hopefully going forward, no issues. Brad nails, glue, 1/2-inch birch wood. It's been good. What I've started using some 1/2-inch birch now that has like a shiny veneer over it, so that it makes really good drawer boxes, and I get them for a really good price, so it makes it worth it for me. And then put the back and the sides on. So these are really short drawers because they're the ones that go in that piece, so that you can, like I mentioned, put pots and pans and whatnot and pull those in and out. I've had some people in the past ask me that why I don't do like dovetail drawer boxes. I'm like, it's really just too time consuming. I'm not gonna say I've probably lost. The ones that probably asked that, probably a little too picky for me, so I just kind of tell them no. I was like, no, I'd just rather do it this way, and they end up really never replying. But this is the same concept as all the rest of the kitchen. So pocket holes for the side pieces. So there's a little piece beside the stove you saw in the initial video to the left side, and so this is it's a very narrow piece. I think it might have only been 13-14 inches wide, something like that. So really not a whole lot you can do with it besides you got the sides of the foot kicker, inside of it, the top of it has a drawer, and then the bottom of it is just a single cabinet door. And so, again, mentioned, try to use Titebond glue everywhere so these things never pull apart. Very good stuff. Not sponsored. Wish I was, but I'm not afraid to say, that I would highly recommend any of the Titebond, but the one that's waterproof, the green bottle, is probably the best glue in my mind on the market at the moment. It's been good for me. So, but moving to the next portion is the face frame. Again, it's the same thing. More pocket holes. You could do like half flaps and glue here, but I don't know. You can't see any of these, so it's been it's been good to me. So. But just measuring off the 6-inch tall drawers that will go around the whole cabinet, and then the bottom, there's no split on the bottom. It's just one single big cabinet door, and so on. Starting with the upper section now, I'll jump back to the lower part with the sink in the next few slides or the next few videos, but all the uppers, they all have the adjustable siding, the adjustable shelves and everything. But so this one is, each side is going to be the same height as the backboard. So you got the left side, right side, and then the customer wanted adjustable shelving to the left and to the right as well. And I had to make sure that all the holes lined up, because sometimes you can cut them and it might be 3 inches at the top or 2.5 inches at the bottom. So making sure all those lined up. I've made the mistake before and not done that, and so I had to go back and redo it. But do both sides, and then the middle is the same thing. So the middle two pieces will be butted against each other, glued and screwed. The top as well. The top gets glued, screwed in. Same depth, same width, and then I put the middle pieces in so I could screw from the top down, from the back, and then so trying to leave all the bottom as clean as possible, because I know these will go. Any screw will go on the back, the sides or the top will be completely hidden, but the bottom, or did I say bottom? The back, the sides, and the top will be completely hidden. The bottom, on the other hand, will be completely seen. So my objective is to have no screws on the bottom, and it has that little 1-inch gap so that it gives it just a little bit of design. And I think it, again, turned out well. So working on the bottom, it's the same concept as the top, except for it doesn't get any pocket holes anywhere, because you don't want to open the cabinet up and see pocket holes on the inside, nor do you want to see them on the bottom. So there's a lot of glue that's used here. And then I will run a 1.25 inch, 2-inch torque head screw through the side, because I know it has trim on each side. It has trim on each side, and then it has nothing on the back, so I can put those screws on the back and on the sides and have all those completely hidden. And I'd use my square and put a inch mark along the bottom so that I can line all that up perfectly. Also, I had to make sure that I didn't want to split any of the birch. It's usually pretty good, but I didn't want to. Wanted to pre-drill all the holes. Really didn't want to split the bottom piece, make it fatter. You know, kind of give it any kind of defect look. Again, just being. Normally wouldn't do that if it was just a normal piece of furniture, like an office desk or something. But something like this, you know, kitchen cabinets are truly meant to be as detailed as possible. You know, make sure that I want to take my time on these, just so that I can make a very minimal of mistakes. I still make mistakes. Made a few mistakes with these, but something that I would have to point out to you before you understood. Most people are not going to see it, and I'm not going to point anything out. I learned that lesson years ago as well. But here, using my square to get those as even as possible, because I know when I cut the shelving, adjustable shelving, those are going to be square coming off the CNC machine. So if I don't square it up now and glue it, then it's going to mess me up later. And again, nobody wants unsquare shelves. So another face, find the middle. So I know the middle is 1.5 inches wide. So I want this to be exactly in the middle. And so each side will have 2 doors. So I know the middle goes exactly in the middle, and then I find the middle again for each one of the sides. And of course, pocket holes, put those in. And then so it gives me my measurements for how wide and tall all there's 4 doors on it, so each 2 sides. And you can be a little off here, but you want to be within like 1/8 of an inch, or most definitely within 1/4. So I always want to try to go back and measure each side. And so you saw me take my earbud out. I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm working. A lot of times my kids are out here, and so I can only have like one earbud in, or sometimes I wear the earmuffs like I have on now. I've kind of gotten away from that since it's got summertime now. As I'm recording this video, it's really hot. It's 90 plus, 90, 95, 98 degrees, sometimes 100 degrees here in Alabama. And so I'll try to be conscious. If I know my kids are out there, I have to wear something I have to be able to hear them, right? So if you have any recommendations for podcasts, I listen to a lot of podcasts, whether it be Joe Rogan's podcast or listen to a lot of sports talk. I love college football. I love college baseball. Really not into pro sports. I don't know. I just don't. Maybe NFL, but besides that, I don't really listen to a lot of pro stuff. But if you have any recommendations, drop those below as well. Music kind of gets old. I listen to music while I'm in the gym, and so I try not to listen to music while I'm in my shop, just because I listen to so much music at the gym that I just don't really care. I don't want to burn myself out. So working on the bottom piece. So this is the main piece along the bottom that has the sink that goes under the window. So one thing I know that it has a farmhouse sink, and then the sink has to be centered with the window. So when I went and measured every bit of this was a house reno, by the way. It wasn't a new construction. It was house reno. Same concept, doesn't matter. But I had to make sure that the window was exactly lined up with the middle. The sink was lined up with the middle of the window. And so all those measurements had to come into play. That's probably what I'm thinking about now is, all right, well, where does this piece need to go? And I had already measured all this off before. The sink has to be a certain width, and so on. You can't really have the sink stick out more. You can't have gaps on the side. You can't have gaps, from the top, from the countertop to the sink. So it really has to kind of fit within, say, 1/8 of an inch. And then on this, I knew that this would be inside that cabinet. So I kind of really didn't have a choice but to put pocket holes there. It all turned out good, but I knew that I would have them hidden by just a little bit, maybe like a inch piece of wood. So really couldn't tell, but had to make sure all this was square again, because I know the shelving will be square when it comes off. I probably could have lined it up by cutting the shelving first, but there's always I could always adjust these later if I needed to. But speaking of the shelving, that's the next step I done. So I flipped it on its back, and you can see this piece goes into, this is the corner piece, so it's a 90-degree corner. And then it goes the opposite way, so I wanted to make sure that this was all lined up perfectly. I don't know why, when I used my CNC, I don't know why I didn't just cut this whole 90 out in one piece. Instead, I made it 2 pieces for some reason. I don't know. But after I done it, I was like, I don't know why I just done that. But it still worked out good. You just see the crease. When you open the cabinet doors, you should just see the crease down the middle. Actually, no, you don't, because there's drawers in the corner, so you don't even see the crease. So it would have made it easier on me if I would have just made this one full 90-degree section. Again, it's 3 inches off the ground to be lined up with that foot kicker. Pocket holes, glue, same concept. The side is also the same. The shelf to the right where I'm sitting is also the same as this piece. So once I got those finished, coarse glue, pocket holes, and so it started on this is where the sink goes. So I had to make sure that this piece was super secured. So it had screws all around it. So not only did I use pocket holes, once I got this piece sat in, I used pocket holes all the way around. I think that just the pocket holes and the glue would hold the sink, but the sink's pretty heavy and it's always going to be there. So that's going to be weight that is on it at all times. And so, it's only going to get heavier. Fill the sink up with water, plates, dishes, whatever. And so I really want to make sure this was there. I think I came back and I put 2x4s on the sides and the back just to really make sure it was there. But I use these pocket holes, and then on the back side, I think I put a 2-inch screw. I'm most definitely probably overkilled it, but as long as this customer never calls me back and tells me that this piece of wood broke, then I don't think you could ever, just the peace of mind makes it worth it, just to do all these steps. Okay, and so working on the face of the bottom piece, so I had a little bit of I had a measurement issue, or really the cabinets itself. So she wanted everything in a certain spot. So you had, like I mentioned, the sink had to go under. So you see this, the fat piece, that's like a 4-inch piece of pine that I just screwed that to. So that goes to the right of the sink. You can't really notice it once you get everything put together, and it's there. It's just, it is a little fatter, but the sink had to line up with the middle of the window, and then it had to make it to the end of the window. So like that whole cabinet had to make it to the had to be in line with the edge of the window, and then the dishwasher was there, and then you had the other cabinet, and then you had the pantry. So I really didn't have a choice but to do it this way, because if I would have left that fat piece off, then it wouldn't have been all the way lined up with the window, if that makes any sense. I might have done that wrong. I don't know. Again, it all looks good in the end, but so if you see the video, you're pointing out things that really didn't know how I was going to do it. If I had to do it again, I probably would do it the same way. So it's not that, if it's not that big of a deal. There's not enough room to put another cabinet there, I guess is what I'm getting at. So if she would have moved the dishwasher to the right side and had the drawers that have the pan pull-outs, then maybe I could have made that a cabinet. But the dishwasher was there, and so it had to be in a certain spot. Anyways, again, all the faces are the same, really, all the same concept. This one's just, it was a little different. So, and then going to the same side, again, another face. This is the face of the drawer corners, and so she wanted the bottom drawer box to be just a little bigger than the other three, all the same. So I made the bottom 9 or 10 inches deep, and then divided that out between the rest of the three. And this will later come into play. Really wanted this done so that I could go ahead and attach all the face on the bottom, and then I had finding out the 90-degree angle piece with the face part was the most difficult challenge. So this piece itself, I had to cut this. I wanted to find out the measurements to go ahead and start cutting the doors, because I knew that was going to take the longest time, right? And so I had to cut these I had to cut the sides of this at an angle to fit in that corner the way that she wanted it. Would I do it again like that? I don't know. I don't know if I'd do another corner like this, but it was something different for me. I figured it out in the end. Probably could have been an easier way, but it was the last thing I'd done, and I really procrastinated doing it because I didn't want to do it, but I knew it had something that had to be done. jumping back to the finishing up the face. So this was the cabinet piece on the top, or the, where the sink goes, and so on. And so I attached those three, and then I knew these had to go in. The back of this didn't matter. How this attached in the corner didn't matter, because all that was going to get cut off. But I wanted those lined up exactly where I wanted them to be. So I went ahead and I used a little bit of pocket hole, attached those, and then when I come back and add the drawer face in the corner, then that is how it, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. That is how it ends up being. So again, attach those, and then so I'd already cut that corner with my table saw, angled my table saw blade. I started off kind of where I knew it's like, all right, it's probably gonna need more than this, and then I would cut it instead of trying to actually figure out the angle. Make sure this was exactly 90 degrees. You see it fits like a glove. I was so proud of myself for cutting this angle perfectly without having a gap. But started off with my table saw with like I don't even remember, 45-degree angle or something like that, and then cut it, went over to it. I'm like, all right, well, it needs to be cut a little bit more. I'd adjusted a little bit more, cut it. I just left it running, and so I was just jumping back and forth until I got it to the exact angle that I needed it. And then I kept that same angle for the top as well, because I knew the top would ultimately be the same angle as the bottom. And then so I used some glue and then some torque head screws and added those in. And then I went back and I cut off, because those back pieces would be in the way of where the drawer size would be. So I came back and I hacked those off. If I was smart, I would have hacked them off before, or lined it up, drew some lines, and then went back and cut those off. It would have been a lot easier. But I didn't do it that way. I done it this way. And then so put the corner pieces so that the drawers have something to sit on, so that they have about a 3/4 piece all the way around it. So I'll cut a little 6-inch block to go behind that, and to give the corner drawer just a little bit more support. So this is the final product for the bottom, minus of course the stain and the doors and all that. And you can see right above me in the middle of this video, I went ahead and again stained the whole bottom piece so that I could get the doors going and get everything attached. I had to take the face back off and stain it and put it back on. And so this is the corner drawer, another angle of it. And then so I just used the birch again, and kind of I had that little big gap at the bottom, so I had to put that little piece of pine, run it into the corner. I'm sure there was a lot easier ways to do this, but I just really want to make sure that it looked good in the end. The inside of the cabinet looked okay, could have been better. Again, this was only my second ever cabinet job, so I'm sure somebody will come in here and critique me, which is fine. I've learned from this doing the corner, but it looks good once it's all done. And so I've done most of the drawer faces here. Then one of the next few slides is how I actually put a door together, how I actually put, again, another drawer box together. And so this, I just wanted to make sure that all those lined up good. The drawer slides, everything slid as it should, making sure everything was lined up, and the the boxes itself didn't slide left to right, or they were in there where they needed to be. And so I attach every single drawer face with an inch screw from the back into the side, and then come back and tap the holes for the handles, put the handles in, and that's all the same process for that. And so once I finished the middle piece, so that's all the bottom. So I had the piece to the left of the stove, then it had that big corner piece, which I really could have put that into two pieces, but I should have once I moved everything in. But the corner piece, and then of course that was attached with under the sink, and then you had the dishwasher, and then you had the set of drawers to the right of it, then you had the big tall pantry to the other right, and then I'd done the upper right side of the cabinet, the long piece with adjustable shelves. And then so this is the piece that goes above the stove to the far left. So you're going to have the same concept. The left piece is going to be really narrow, and then above the stove has to have, you can see it's cut out to where they can put a vent hood in, or whatever they end up deciding down the road. So all these are just, like again I mentioned, everything on the top is adjustable shelving. Attach all that from the back. Some of the ones had to have pocket holes. I think those pocket holes should have been on the outside because it had trim on the outside. So that's one of my mistakes. But again, not trying to talk about the mistakes. So you had the adjustable shelving, attach all that with glue. Again, more torque head screws, the same to the right side as well. And so once this is working on the right side, put glue on the back of it because I knew that's going to go, there's going to be butted together. But I really had to have I didn't want to drill the adjustable shelving through the other piece. I was like, whatever, I'll just cut me a small piece and drill the shelving there, glue it together, or screw it together so that it all, mends well. Once I got both sides done, more glue, more top bond glue. So this is another one of the pieces that will be fully seen. So couldn't really run any pocket holes here. I had to glue it just like I had to do the other side. CNC machine makes all this fit like an absolute glove. There's no gaps. Everything is just spot on, perfect. Run some screws to the sides. This will be, both left and right side will be completely covered. I guess I could have hid those screws by attaching the side first. I don't know. I could have hid more screws better ways, but making sure that was exactly an inch so that it all seamed flawlessly going all the way around. This right side. So this is where I divided it up. I didn't want to make the left, this part, and then the last piece I work on in the middle. I didn't want to make that all one piece because it was such a monster to move in, and so I'm glad I didn't. Glad I done it the way I did. There's a little bit of a seam going down the middle, but it's all fine. And so this is another face piece for that piece that I just cut. Just, walking you through how to do it. Again, please subscribe to the channel. It's growing. I'm trying to get back on the gist. I have another kitchen island video that's upcoming. I have a over the fridge piece that has like a little storage, like a broom closet drawer to the side. Those will be my next 2 videos. And then of course I'll throw in some review videos. And then I build so many just the same things, vanities, dog kennels, that I don't know what else content besides random projects that I do that you want to see. Do you want to see? Do you want to know how much I'm making a year doing vanities and cabinets? Still work a full-time job. I work as an engineer during the day, and then do this at night. And so, it's been fun. I enjoy doing it. I don't know when I'm going to retire from my actual job, but we'll go from there and figure all that out later. But does that interest you? If you've been here since the beginning, you saw my old shop, you see my new shop. I don't know what else content. Drop below what other content that you'd want to see if you made it this far in the video. If I do, greatly appreciate it. It only has about another 10 minutes or so and it'll be finished, which a lot of it is kind of a repeat. How to do doors and drawers and whatnot, and then the last corner piece, and then from there, it all works itself out. But again, that face is done. You see that little skinny piece? I knew how to make an 1.5 inch piece gap on the side. So, and if you saw my other how I do a door video, this is the same concept. So I'll find the middle of the birch that I put in the middle of these is a 1/4 inch piece of birch, and so that gap has to be big enough for that to fit in it. And so you find the middle of the stiles and the rails, and then you adjust it just a little bit off left and right. The goal is to get the blade. You don't want to have to cut anything out of the middle of it after you cut it, and so the goal is to get it perfectly like down the middle, but to the left and to the right, just like I show you there. And then once you get that part done, that was the backwards video of showing you how I line that up. So you can see it's just almost exactly a blade width from the middle, left and right. And then so this is the, I guess I don't know what's the style rail, one of the two. And so this I've cut myself a sample piece, and that has tremendously helped me out. Now I've done it 1,000 times. I don't have to do that anymore, but I still use that exact sample piece to line up the width of how far I need to cut that. And then I always use the 90-degree angle piece for the table saw. Cut me a straight line on the inside, because that obviously has to be, I don't want to risk it and try to do it myself. And then run it back over the table saw blade to where it's a perfectly even match. That was actually just a little bit too thick. It's always better to cut it a little too thick than have to come back and trim some off. And then I keep doing that process over and over until the doors fit. So, and again, once you get that first piece cut in, highly recommend using a sample piece. Make a sample piece so you have that sitting beside you. Having jigs around has been something that I swear by now. If you do the same thing over and over and you see how that fit, how great that door fit. And once you get all that sanded, sand the sides. You could sand the front of it and the back too, but I really just sand the insides, because once I get that piece of birch in there, then it's not going to be, you're not going to go back and sand it, and you don't want to sand the middle sheet because it's already smooth. But once you get that sanded, you lay down the longer pieces first that don't connect. I always try to make at least one good side. If I have any defects in the wood, if it has any knots or whatnot, I try to put all that on the inside if possible. Of course, it goes with wood selection when you begin. All this is 3/4 pine, white pine, and then the middle is birch. And so put glue and off. Usually do two doors at a time. Glue those up. Use a square to make sure that they are that they're square, because I could mess you up later. And then once you get them nice and square and even where they need to be, I go clamp them. I could probably buy more of these, but they're so expensive. They're, I think, $100 a pair maybe. It's been a while since I've bought any, but I have 2 or 3 sets, so it's fine. I've made it work doing so many doors at a time. But in this, I had to start the doors way early so I could finish it on time. So again, another drawer box video, same as the last time. Finish up the video, I go back in and put just showing you how I put the drawer sides in. So they're really all the same. Just line them up. I use the inch tall square, the speed square, and I draw a line, then attach the drawer side to the top of that, and then put the same concept with the actual drawer box that you saw, attach it as well. And I'm coming back, and since I had to pull that face back off, I waited to the end to put the bottom shelf. This is obviously under the sink, and so came back and touched up any kind of stain that I might have missed. Put this bottom shelf back in, attached all the doors. So the doors, they have some soft close hinges on them. Once I got the soft close hinges on, I put the handles, and the doors are done. And then, I sprayed this whole kitchen down with, it seemed like 45 cans of the Minwax water base urethane. And so before I put all the handles on, I think I'd put 2 or 3 coats per the whole thing. So, I would take 15 minutes to spray it and wait 30 minutes, come back and spray it again. And so once I got it all sprayed, I would put the handles on, and then I would consider that piece done. And then so I knew some of those I had to deliver. I had to deliver this whole thing. They came and picked up the pantry in the middle of it because they needed it sooner for something. And so once I got each piece, I'd put it on my trailer and get it out of my way, so they knew that it was done. And so this is the top middle piece. This is the last piece that I completed, and I was pretty thrilled to get to this point because I knew it was the end, and it was the same concept as the side. The only difference is when you got to the actual corner, So I done the exact same steps that I had done with the middle of the bottom piece, literally the same way. I wanted to look the same, and I had good luck doing it that way. And so I done, lined everything up. I wanted to make sure, because I knew this was going in the corner of the house. The house was a little off, of course. It was an older house, so we had to make it work. Had to push it a little bit, but it all lined up well in the end. But made that 90-degree angle, cut the single door that would go here, cut that, put it on, and so on. So once I got all that cut, again, same concept. I think at the second time I learned my lesson, and I went ahead and I cut these pieces before, and so I didn't have any excess to cut off, which was pretty nice, to be honest. And then I used my CNC machine to cut the corner piece in the middle, and then also the top and bottom shelf with, of course, the adjustable shelving, which is the next step. And getting into the end of the video, again, shelving here, whatnot. But really appreciate it. If you made it this far to the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Again, just super thankful to be able to make this video and sit here for over an hour long voiceover. Again, if when you go to see the video, if it is flipped side, I think I got it fixed. Please let me know in the comments below if I need to fix anything in the video to help the other videos down the road. But finishing up here, got that done, and then got all these pieces put in, the shelving. Really wanted to do these adjustable shelving, but it didn't work out that way, and use my CNC machine to exactly draw that corner piece in, put it in. It came out to be super square and so on. But once I got that done, put all the shelving on, put the doors on, and then went and installed it. And so that was pretty much the end of the cabinet build. So if you have any questions below, I'll try to answer as quick as I can. Got my Facebook page, GL Rustic Design, along with Instagram. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. If you're a beginner, I'll give you some thoughts. But thank you again.